Interesting, with all the available quarterbacks set to hit the market via free agency and the draft, and apparently my colleague David Carr thinks that the best quarterback available will be in the latter. He's got Tua Tagovailoa at number 1 on his list, followed by Dak Prescott, then Joe Burrow, then Teddy Bridgewater, and then Tom Brady. Is any of this speaking to you, Kyle? Are we okay with Tua at number 1?
You know, I think there's a lot of stuff that needs to be said about the injuries, because as a guy who played in the league and dealt with injuries, it can go one of two ways. We've seen guys like Thomas Davis, who's had multiple surgeries on his knees, and he's flying around at 30 whatever years old. If Tua can find a way to get healthy for the long term, he can be a tremendous quarterback in this league, but that remains to be seen.
Yeah, I agree with Kyle. Too many question marks. It's the unknown with Tua. You don't know if he's going to be able to stay healthy. You don't even know what type of quarterback he's going to be in the National Football League, what type of offense is going to be built around this young man. For me, I'm going to take the known fact. I'm going to take Dak Prescott because I know what he's giving me. This is a guy in Dak that's on the trajectory, like he's hitting his ceiling. He's played his best football so far this past year. And all the question marks, honestly, that we had about Dak, he answered them last year. Passing yards. And here's the other thing. His classmates in the same draft, Goff and Wentz, he has more wins, he has more passing yards, and he has just as many touchdowns. So at the end of the day, why not Dak? I just don't get how you put Tua in front of Dak.
Well, there's something to be said about potential, right? And the unknown quantity of the draft. Like, you could bring somebody in and they could be the next Tom Brady. You don't know that. People see a lot of upside in Tua.
We saw that with Philly. We saw that with Philly with Carson Wentz. There were question marks in college regarding his health. They took a waiver on him, and we've seen Carson Wentz now become himself in Philadelphia. So there is that side of the coin, but the health is a definite major concern in my mind.
Are there any other quarterbacks on that list that pique your interest?
I really like Justin Herbert. I'm an Oregon Duck guy, but I really think his body of work speaks for himself. There's a lot of concern in the NFL about late season playoff time weather, cold weather. Justin Herbert played in wet weather in Oregon. I think he's got the physical traits and the ability to lead, to go out there and be a guy at the next level.
Carr's concern about Herbert was his accuracy, which he says is hard to improve at the NFL level. He's got explanations for all of the quarterbacks on his list at NFL.com/top10targets.
How many is this guy going to get in his rookie year?
Well, he's a good rookie now.
Gets the pressure. Absolutely dominating this football game. Bosa leads the charge, is just rolling people. Man, oh man, is Nick Bosa putting on a show.
Josh Allen gets the new rookie sack record. That is his 9th sack of the season.
And it was Mad Max Crosby does it again. Forced that fumble. Beautiful job.
That 2019 draft class of pass rushers proved that you can get immediate heat on the quarterback through the draft. Let's bring in Daniel Jeremiah, our draft analyst right now, back to the show here. We already know about a guy who's right at the top of the board that's not going to be waiting in the green room very long, in Chase Young out of Ohio State as a pass rusher. Give us a little bit on him and tell us about other guys that we should be focusing on when it comes to coming off the edge.
Sure, Scott. Look, everybody around the league is going to have Chase Young as the top edge rusher in the draft. And at the Combine, I'm anxious to see the measurables, see how long this guy is. I know he's going to test really well. He's very explosive. The tape speaks for itself. The discussion at the end of the year, did he fall off? Nonsense. He didn't fall off. He was the same disruptive player. So we'll see him put on a show at the Combine. But to me, the fun begins after him with the next two guys. And K'Lavon Chaisson from LSU, somebody who missed the 2018 season with an ACL, but man, he got better and better as the year went along for LSU. Long, rangy, big-time twitch coming off the edge. You see him bend here at the top of his rush. I think he's the second best edge rusher in the draft, and he's got a chance to vault himself up to that top 10 to 12 discussion in the overall class once he puts on a show in Indy. And then behind him, A.J. Epinesa. Just big, powerful guy. I wrote down big, skilled man, almost like you talk about a basketball player, because he's almost 6'6", 280 pounds. He's outstanding with his hands. He's not nearly as twitched up or as explosive as Chaisson, but in doing some homework and talking to some folks who've been training these guys, said, hold on now. He might surprise you with how he tests there in Indianapolis. Obviously, the production is off the charts.
Espinosa and Chaisson, two names to get familiar with. I want to back up just a bit and talk about Chase Young in this regard. Everybody's going to have him as a top edge rusher, as you said there. How about him compared to last year's top edge rusher? You talk about the number 2 overall
I knew
pick.
you were going there.
I'm not the first to ask you this, but let's put it on record for the NFL Total Access audience. Nick Bosa versus Chase Young. How do they stack up coming out of college?
I can put both Bosa brothers out there because they're both outstanding.
Okay.
I had it just based off college grade entering the draft. Nick Bosa, Chase Young, Joey Bosa. Now, Joey's going to probably punch me when he sees me doing the Charger games next year, but that's how I view those guys, and they're all in the elite top-tier range. Nick just as a powerful leverage rusher, the best leverage rusher I've ever seen.
Well, a handful of teams looking for double-digit sacks out of a rookie could be finding it here in the 2020 draft. DJ, thanks as always.